August in Oregon can be really hot and the trout fishing tends to taper off, with most streams and lakes being chock full of people waving their rods around. Well, you know what I mean. A couple of days ago, Darcy was busy showing her cousin Derek around the state, so I went into the hills with Tonto just to keep the old body in tune. I spent the first couple of days tromping into some of my old pet spots and caught enough trout for my breakfast, but I kept thinking about a couple of old forgotten little ponds that had been kind of erased by recent forest fires. I wondered if I could even get into the little brookie-infested Bruno lakes. Were they even still there? Could I find them? And now that's how ideas are born. I could have continued catching enough rainbows to keep myself fed.
Well, there was one.
And spent my time strolling through the woods escaping the summer heat. About 3 miles or so east of Idana, I turned off Highway 22 onto the Bruno Mountain Road. Had a real forest fire come through here 5 or 6 years ago. Logs used to fall across here and that was as far as you could go. And since the road hasn't been used much, due to fallen trees and whatnot, some of the upper reaches of the road have just fallen into real disrepair. I guess they're kind of reverting back to nature. Maybe we'll have trees growing out of them someday. Right now it isn't too bad in here, but it'll get worse. Forest Service had apparently done quite a bit of degree cleaning up and cutting here, and I could actually get up the road a ways. 5 years ago, this was a forest. A beautiful green forest. Now it's not. Well, this is where we turn off the main road and head on up to Bruno Lakes. And the road gets worse. Well, the road's starting to get overgrown here, but we head on up and we'll get out of it pretty soon. We'll get back into the burned fire zone. Oh boy. And we just keep heading up. Road's still not real bad here, but we're getting close. It's looking more like a trail now instead of a road. But you just keep climbing the humps. At this point, we were about 3 miles off the highway, and at any time, one of these old snags could fall down. They do it all the time. Now, while it's unlikely that one of these old unburned trees might actually fall on you, it could certainly fall on the road behind you, and that would be a problem. You don't cut through one of these things with a hatchet. But we're not going to worry about that kind of stuff today. We can walk out if we have to. In fact, last year I hiked into this very spot up this slash-covered road and bagged a nice little black-tailed buck. Then packed him out. If I did it then, I can do it today. If I have to. Got to keep these old bones in working order. And here we are, the adventure begins. The day's nice, lots of blue sky, but it's supposed to get hot. We'll just try not to exert ourselves too much. Well, now comes the work part of the trip. That's work, I said, not worst. This is fun, but it's still going to be work getting down to that pond. Yeah, that's a good sign. I remembered my fishing rod. and my tackle. Looks like I'm carrying a purse, but it actually winds up easier to carry this and set it down than it does wearing my pack. So today I'll carry a purse. As they say, the longest journey begins with the first step. I wonder how our little journey is going to be today. Just a couple of minutes from the truck, right here, this is the spot where the little buck fell 9 months ago.
Oh, there we go. Well, he sure piled up. Okay, well, now it's time to get to work.
I fired at him from the top of this hill. I wound up taking 2 trips and 5 hours to get him to my truck. It was a good day. Okay, now back to the job at hand. Into the brush we go. I think maybe this is the old roadbed that used to lead into the Bruno lakes. Yep, piece of cake. Yep, right. Phew. There, I think I can see some water glistening ahead.
It's down there. Just kind of looks like a wet spot in the woods, but that's Bruno Lake.
Well, I think it's actually what used to be called Little Bruno Lake, but I think the 2 ponds are now connected, thanks mainly to beavers.
Now, all we got to do is get to it and find out if there are any fish.
I've lost any kind of trail and just try to keep heading in the right direction now. This brush is becoming a bit of a problem here. You might say I'm glad I'm not Tarzan and naked. Yow! Piece of cake. Yep, right. Phew. It really is tough on an 80-year-old geezer to be dragging his carcass through this kind of thick brush.
Holy cow. And there is Big Bruno. You can't see much. Holy cow.
Just gotta keep thrashing towards the water. Then I finally make it. Well, the hard part is finding a place to cast. You can't just wade out in the water because the whole bottom of the pond is mud, and it would swallow you whole if you tried.
This used to be a beautiful little lake out in the forest, and now it's a good news, bad news thing. Burning all the trees let a lot of sunlight in here, and it had caused all this plant growth. It's kind of choking the lake, and it sure makes it hard to get in here.
I finally found a log that extended out to where the lake was 15 feet or so deep. Perfect. Now, don't just wobble off. The first step is to cast out a little piece of nightcrawler with no weight on the line. Let it settle down for 5 or 6 seconds, and yep, fish on. All the fish in this little pond are brook trout. There are no cutthroat at all. No one fishes these little lakes, so they're really overpopulated, and most of the fish are small. But if you're persistent, there are larger trout available in here. Do remember though, 8 and 9 inch brookies are pretty good coming out of a fry pan. Just cast out. Hook a fish, bring him in, then cast out again. It really isn't hard.
Well, I just want to show you one fish here. Ah, well, he's about 8 inches long. A few of those would fill up a fry pan. Let's go see if we can catch a bigger one, if we don't fall in. Plus, hard to tell, but right there, that's actually a beaver lodge. The beavers have taken over in here, and they're making the pond a little deeper. That makes it even harder to get to because now there's more brush along the shoreline. You really gotta want to get here to get here. You don't just get in here automatically. And this is probably the last time I'll do it. I can remember what this place was years ago, and now it's full of fish. You can almost get a fish every cast. But man, you gotta really want to get in here to do that.
Yep, you know the drill by now. Get out to the end of the log. Cast a worm with no weight. Count down 2, 3. Bingo, fish on. Surprise! I got another one. This is like having one of those jobs where you stand by a moving belt and then do the same thing over and over again. But believe me, I ain't complaining. Now here now, watch and I'll show you this one last time. You already know about the worm, and here's where I flip it out. Now we count 1, 2, 3. Oh, and I'll be darned, we got a fish on. Come on in here, little guy, and I'll show you to the camera.
This is what we're after.
Another pretty little 8-inch brookie. Nice fish.
And there he went. I splashed him off.
Well, there's a beautiful shot. Kind of a full moon rising. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, I gotta go pretty soon, because my throat's really dry and I didn't bring anything to drink. About one more fish and I'll be ready to head back to the truck, I think. Okay, that's kind of a fitting end to our story here. I got hung up. So, snap the line and call it a day. Time to punch the old time clock. That's enough for now.
That's the log I was fishing on. I just finally called it quits, came off the log, fell in there, got stuck in about 3 feet of mud, and then I shinnied across here kind of, through the water, there, and now I've got to head up through that. And somewhere, over there, you know, it's only about a quarter of a mile away. But it seems like I got to walk to Portland. Boy, what a horrible walk. Anyway, wound up catching about 10 fish. The longest one was about 8 inches. I lost one monster that might have been 9. It was fun. I had to do it one last time. Now I've done it and I don't have to do it again. Anybody else that wants to come in here? You could probably catch 100 fish in a daytime if you wanted to. Whew. More power to you. I'll show you where it is on the map. It's getting bigger, the beavers, and there's the beaver lodge right there. They're making it deeper, but boy, the brush is getting thicker, so good luck to you.
All that's left is to make it back to the truck. I really wish I could fly like a bird, but I can't. So now I'll just weave through the brush like a snake. After all, the truck isn't really that far away in human years, as they say. There's really no right way or wrong way or easy way to navigate these brush choked, fire-scarred woods. It's just one step at a time, trying to keep from tangling your feet in the downfall or stepping into a hole. Either way, I could find myself sprawled face down in the sticks, wondering where the hell I would flip my purse to. Then I'd just have to pick myself up and keep thrashing on. None of the trail going back is familiar because I think I'm going a whole different way, but there's just no way to know. Finally, the brush thins a bit, and at last I make the truck. I'm tired, I'm thirsty, I'm also strangely satisfied. I made it in and I made it back out. Mostly undamaged, except for a few scratches and gouges and bruises, the normal stuff. At least I didn't break any bones this time. I made it. Well, I probably won't be doing that again. It's worse every year, and the years aren't real kind to me anyway. Whew. I imagine a person could go in there and catch 50 trout. A lot of them would be 6 inches long, but there'd be a few of them that'd be close to a foot. But who wants to go through all of that brush to catch trout? I won't do it again. Boy. And it's only about 2 or 3 city blocks in there. And yet it took me over an hour to get to a fishing spot. It's incredible. It's hard, and you got to be nuts to want to do it. And I'm done. But I'll show anybody where it's at. I'll show them on the map, and they can go in there and catch the fish. That's fine with me. But I'm done. That was enough. Highway 22 goes through Detroit, then through Idana, and on up the road to the Whispering Falls campground. Then that's about, I don't know, 3 miles past Idana. A mile or so after the campground, you come to the Bruno Mountain Road Bridge. And it goes over the Santa Ana. You turn onto this road, and in about half a mile or so, you come to an intersection. Maybe it's still got an old junk car in it. You just keep going. And then when you're a little over a mile from the highway, in total, you come to a second intersection. Turn left here and go uphill for another mile or so until you come to a small turnout. Stop right here in front of these 2 burnt logs, you're there. If you got a GPS location, you only got 600 feet to go. Otherwise, hit the woods, find some brush and catch some fish. There's a bunch of them there.